Going on, everyone? What a day in football. Any given Sunday, right? I mean, so many upsets, so many surprise losses. Both the Chiefs and the Bills both lost. And I mean, if you look at the standings and everything, everybody's pretty even. I mean, outside of the Dolphins, everyone is pretty much 2-1, or Eagles 2. But pretty much everyone is 2-1 or 1-2 right now. We'll see what the Giants do tomorrow and see if they're able to continue and be 3-0, tied with the Eagles. But outside of like the Eagles and the Dolphins, everyone else is pretty even across the board, which is really surprising right now. It is still early in the football season, right? We still have many more weeks to go, which I am excited for. We're only in week 3. But yeah, a lot of really interesting games, a lot of interesting upsets, a lot of close games. There were teams that should have won. Just off the bat, I mean, like the Packers beating the Bucks. I think that was pretty fair, and that game kind of came down to the wire. The Bucks had a chance to tie it. They had several opportunities to win that game and weren't able to capitalize. The Broncos game that just finished, I mean, I think that was a coin flip game. That was a defensive game. But other than that, pretty much everyone else that should have won. I did do a whole deep dive into the Raiders. Check out that video after this video. Raiders are absolutely terrible, and that was a rough game. But anyway, moving on to the Chiefs, because this one I think was the most surprising game, given one, them playing the Colts, who haven't looked good at all, coming off of just an absolute just embarrassing game, where they got completely just shut out by the Jaguars, which we're going to touch on the Jaguars here shortly, because they're very interesting to me. But the Chiefs were just really couldn't get anything going, and you got to give the Colts a lot of credit. I mean, they were sticking in there. There were a couple moments where it looked like maybe the game could get away from them, and they were able to pull off the win. Patrick Mahomes just had a rough game. I think that's all it was. I think it was a rough go around. He was 20 for 35. I mean, he threw for 262 yards, but he had an interception. Just again, couldn't really get much going. Credit to the Colts. And it just seemed like an off game for the Chiefs, after looking just absolutely dominant the last 2 weeks. But nonetheless, like that was a surprising game, right? I mean, the consensus thought was like, oh, the Chiefs are gonna just run the Colts over. I'm sure Colt fans feel otherwise, but in reality, like the Chiefs probably win 9 out of 10 of those games. It's just the Colts really showed up and played at home, and were able to pull off the win. So you got to give the Colts a lot of credit. The Colts definitely deserve some praise for the display that they did. And now they're right in the thick of things. They're in second place behind the Jags, which again, keep coming back to. But like I said, it's been very interesting to see all of these teams kind of just being in this like cluster. They're all in the same area. But moving on to the Bills, this one again, another upset. But you got just a red hot Miami at home. Have looked absolutely great. Is Tua really the real deal? Is this dude like really pulling this stuff off? I mean, Dolphins, they just kept hanging in there, and it just looked like, they're waiting around, they're hanging around, and then finally they took that lead and just never looked back. And the Bills had multiple opportunities to really like pull this game away, to really kind of just run away with this game, and they just really couldn't get over the hump. And it was a good game, it was fun, it was enjoyable, but this was a game that the Bills should have won. They were missing 4 of their key defensive players. Micah Hyde would have made a huge difference. I don't want to make excuses for him. Like I said, again, not a fan of the team. But that has to be mentioned. That can't go unnoticed. They can't get unmentioned. But Miami's they're a red hot team. They're a team that just seems to be riding on a high, playing great football, and I really like this team. I still have questions about Tua, but he's really delivered. He's really delivered. He deserves a ton of credit for what he's done with this Miami team, what he's been able to accomplish this season. I mean, he had another great game, 13 of 18, 186 yards. He did throw for a touchdown. But I again, I do have a little concerns with him. But, hey, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, this team keeps just trucking along the way that they're trucking along. They got the defense. They have the weapons. I mean, this team is very good. Very good. And, it wasn't a huge upset, in my opinion. Like, the Colts beating the Chiefs, that was a pretty big upset, in my opinion. But this was like, hey, I think that this could have easily went either way, especially Buffalo coming in to Miami. I still think Buffalo's the better team. I still think that they very likely go to the Super Bowl. But still, you got to give Miami a ton of credit in this matchup and for winning this game. And then the Chargers. What was that? Now, first off, Chargers are just really banged up. They got a lot of injuries, and they really need to get healthy. And if they're healthy, I think this team can be very good. I think you can make an argument that this team might be the deepest team overall in the league. But they got absolutely steamrolled. You might as well have not even have played Justin Herbert. He might as well have just sat out if you were going to show up like this and not run the risk of him getting even more injured. Like, I think you were better off going with Daniels. Like, I think he would have done more than what this was. This was bad. This was a good old-fashioned back of the barn, just beat down. Absolute beat down. And the Jags, their defense just looks monstrous right now. They really have these guys fully bought in. Lawrence is starting to look like the real deal. He is doing some great things this year. He was the big, can't miss quarterback, best quarterback since Andrew Luck. And he's looked like it this year. He has absolutely looked like it this year. 28 of 39, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just a monstrous game. And I really think that I don't want to get too high on the Jags, and it might just be because they've just been so terrible the last few years. But they look really good. They really do. They look very good on both sides of the ball. Doug Peterson really has this team buying in. They're definitely running a Doug Peterson offense. You can see it. And they seem to have that belief. They really seem like they can make some noise this year. We're not that far removed from when they were a game away from being in the Super Bowl. We're really not. But I think they've made all the right moves. They've done all the right things. They've really built this team. They've really built this belief that they can win. They're 2-0 in conference play. They're 1-0 in division. After the bad loss in week 1, they've really bounced back since. Complete shutout to the Colts. Not saying too much. They should have beaten the Commanders. They really should have. Like, that was a game. Like, they should, in my opinion, I think they should be 3-0. But hey, you had a bad start on the road. You could have folded, which this team probably would have. Past seasons, you could have easily folded, easily had just a rough go, and could have easily came out and started 0-3, and no one would have thought anything of it. But you bounce back at home, you completely shut out the Colts. It's not even that the Jaguars beat the Colts, it's that they completely shut them out, which is pretty impressive. And then to go into the Charger Stadium and just sun them, like, just absolutely just embarrass the Chargers at home. You got to give them a ton of credit. They looked really good. I lost some money on that for sure, so I'm not a happy camper at all. But in hindsight, the Jaguars deserve the credit. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What did you think of the football lineups? Were you shocked by any of these games? Did you think it made sense? Do you think what did you think as a whole? I mean, a lot of big upsets, a lot of surprising results in my opinion. But do you feel the same way? However you feel, love to hear your thoughts. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.